Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frankie Smith Funeral Home.
Hello and welcome to Fairfield Today. My name is Rick Snyder, community educator with Fairhope Hospice, Palliative Care, home of the Pickering House, and welcome to the show. Joining me is Fairhope CEO Denise Bauer. Denise, good to see you.
Great to see you too, Rick.
And I hate to say it, but it looks like we got a couple of people sitting with us.
We do.
For those who are observant, you might notice that. Would you care to introduce them?
Sure. Well, to my right is Mrs. Claus.
Whoa.
So we're excited to have her with us today.
And I'm excited to be here.
So
Wow.
welcome. And
Thank
Twyla
you.
Summers, our manager of our volunteers, is with us.
Good morning.
Well,
We're excited to have you too.
Thank you.
not quite as much, but you understand.
I get
But
it.
you know, I
get it.
I mean, there's just something about Mrs. Claus. You know, you've
Yeah.
got to be on your best behavior in front of Santa and Mrs. Claus.
Indeed, indeed.
And
Yes.
She just says boys and girls in such a nice way. You know, hi boys and girls. And,
Yes.
I guess it comes with the territory.
I love children
Oh, I imagine. And
of all ages.
oh yeah. Well,
Yes.
I'm been accused of being a kid,
Yes.
so it happens. Do I still get the gifts? Just out of curiosity.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You're a good boy.
Let's.
We need to talk.
Yeah, that's my alter ego. But excuse me, Twyla, we're having Mrs. Claus on for a reason, I imagine.
We are. We are having our annual cookie walk. And
Oh, I
Mrs.
love
Claus and Mr. Claus are always there.
Yes.
And
Mr. Claus could not be here today because he was getting his teeth cleaned. But he will be there the day of the cookie walk.
mhm.
You always have to keep your teeth clean.
He's always talking to the
Always.
kids, and
Yes.
that's
Good
one of the important
hygiene.
things. Yep.
Yes.
See your dentist, brush regularly.
Yes.
Well, don't you think it has something to do with all those cookies he
I
eats all
think
year round?
yes,
That he needs to
he
go to a
loves
dentist.
Cookies.
Mhm.
Loves them.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we do this every year.
We do.
Probably what, 20 years now or 15? How many? It's been a
I've
while.
been doing it going on 14.
Yeah.
So, and I was doing it as a volunteer before that.
Mhm.
I think it's been over 20.
Yes,
Yeah.
over 20.
Yeah.
But I've actually been at it for 20 with hospice.
Wow.
Yes.
And it keeps getting bigger. It is a fundraiser for us.
Yes.
And when, where, who, and how?
Well, it is December the 7th,
Ah.
and it is at St. John's Church.
Mm-hmm.
That's on Broad Street, and it is from 8 a.m. till 12 p.m.
Wow.
And so, get there early because we do run out of cookies pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. And Denise, we always see Mrs. Claus and Mr. Claus there.
We do, and it's a great time for families to attend.
Mm.
It's one of those events that we have that we invite families because it's a special time of year, and
Yeah.
you can actually get your pictures taken for
Yes.
free with
Free.
Mrs. Claus and of course Santa, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's really nice. And
Absolutely.
our volunteers do such a fabulous job of decorating, and it's just a really great way to, if you haven't already kicked off the holidays, for me, it's a great way to kick off the holidays. There's, all kinds of good cookies and treats and sometimes crafts, yes. So it's a really, really nice event.
So we just encourage people, especially being the first Saturday of the month, to come get your cookies and for all those holiday parties. Maybe even for the children's Christmas parties at school. And we've got crafts. You might find a teacher's gift there too.
And remember too, you can bring your own containers and you can freeze your cookies too until Christmas.
Yeah.
Because they will last that long in the freezer.
Some of them are so creative. I think Denise has
Very
brought in some.
creative.
You hate to eat them.
I know.
They look so good, but you can take one or two of each kind of cookie. It's you're not restricted in any way. And don't you kind of do that sometimes? Get a
Well,
whole
I
variety?
think but my real specialty is I make peanut butter fudge every year.
Ah,
And
yeah.
that's my specialty.
Mhm.
It's easy
And fudge goes really fast.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of those things, some people can make it, some people struggle with it, but I've got a secret recipe that's no fail. And so I make it and it seems to go really well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, just the venue St. John's.
It's beautiful.
It's in that little courtyard with the pine trees there and the brick, the old brick, and then when it snows,
It's beautiful.
it just takes you back, yeah.
Yes.
So, and you said Santa Claus will be there and you're usually
He
out?
will be there. We're normally outside. You can have your pictures taken outside or inside. They're decorated inside with a tree, so you can have a portrait taken by the tree with both Mr. Santa Claus and Mrs. Santa Claus.
Wow.
And it's always very festive. There's music. It's just a beautiful event.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, it's just an awesome way, not just for our community, for our volunteers, to start off their holiday season.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, okay, it's here,
Yes.
and let's go.
Well, Denise, I've heard that they look forward to our event for that reason.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it was funny because before we aired our show here, we were actually reminiscing about some older days.
Mm-hmm.
And you've always, even when we had another office, you always stood outside and sold cookies, but people would just stop and pull over, and we had door-to-car service, so.
Yeah.
We've always,
I've always been
interesting.
outside.
Yes, you always have.
Been outside.
And we've had some really cold weather,
Yes.
but Mr. and Mrs. Claus, they just endure.
Well, I remember one year I used to be Mr. Claus, Santa Claus.
That's
but,
right.
I'd have to use pillows. Well, don't tell the kids that. But, I was out there attracting business.
Right.
And this SUV pulls up off to the side and she opens the door and two little kids come out and one kid goes back in and this 6-year-old little Tommy comes over and that's my brother John, but he doesn't like you. And his mom goes, don't tell him that. So the kid was devastated. I gave him presents anyway.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it was kind of interesting,
Yes.
that it is, a lot of it's for the kids.
It's a lot of fun. It's like happiness in the air the whole day. It's just great. That's the holiday feeling
Oh, yeah.
starts that day for all.
Absolutely, and we had one of the Chicken Soup for the Soul stories a few years ago where a man came in really off the street. I think he was homeless, I know he was very poor, and he wanted to know what was going on, so we gathered together some cookies for him. And I think Donna Menegat, if I can use her name on the air, was the person working at the cash table, and she said he gave us $10. And she
Yes.
said that had to be all the money he had.
Aww.
And
Yes.
for him to do that, when you talk about giving,
Yes.
if you look at percentages, he gave 100%.
Yes,
Wow.
he did.
And it was just, there it was the meaning of Christmas right there. And, that affected all the volunteers working there because everybody was talking about that. And that's what Christmas is giving.
It's the love and the joy.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And we see it right there. We see it in Fairhope, where we
Yes.
work. We see that type of love.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, the one thing, Rick, I love about this event is that, I buy the really cute decorated cookies.
Oh, yeah.
So then I put them on my tray, and it makes my tray look really cute if I just have regular cookies. I know, she's shaking her head, because Twyla knows I do that, yes. But they're so cute, some of the cookies, and they're so creative. And, we actually have a lot of people that donate in the school. They donate.
Culinary art.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
so, that's really great. They do a really good job.
They do. However, we always need more cookies. So
Always.
if you're a baker and you've possibly even had a family member or a friend that was on Fairhope and you kind of want to give back, this would be a great way to give back. Just give us a call here, ask for Twyla, and we can, I can give you the instructions on what to do. But that's a really great way to give back because we can never have enough cookies, and all of the funds from the cookie walk goes to the Memorial Fund, which helps our patients.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a cute cookie, that somebody had big sugar cookies with white icing, then they had a marshmallow there and put little eyes and a hat on it like a snowman, and little
mountain.
pretzels coming out, and it looked like the snowman was melting on
Yes.
the cookie.
Yeah.
That's ingenious. Y'all hate to eat those things, but and you brought up a good point. The money is for our fund, in which we help people who can't pay, or we just allows us to buy little things that Medicare doesn't reimburse us for.
Right, we do a lot of extras. If there's a need, we take care of it, and so, we're a nonprofit organization, so we do take donations. But this is one way to help us, is by having fundraisers, and our volunteers do a great job, and all that money directly goes to patient care. So there's no administrative overhead on that. It just goes directly into a fund to reimburse for care that's not compensated. I mean, you talk about music therapy, massage therapy, special equipment devices that aren't normal in the realm of what a hospice usually covers. So we don't want anyone to ever suffer or not have the care they need. So this money goes to take care of them for hospice too. So we appreciate everything the community does, and in supporting our fundraisers and supporting us.
Well, Twyla, didn't we buy a special bed one time through the
Yes.
volunteers
Yeah,
fundraising?
we did. We bought a bariatric bed,
Mm-hmm.
which came in really handy. Like right away, we used it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, the money, and I'll tell you, the other thing is, and I know Janet has had this, Rick has had this at the cookie walk, is people want to tell their stories.
Yeah.
And they want to come in and just tell us about the great care, about their loved one. And so that's another awesome opportunity
Yes, it
for
is.
us to listen.
Yes.
And so the cookie walk is just not just cookies.
Mm-hmm.
It's listening, and one of the things our volunteers are trained in is listening.
Mm-hmm.
So they get to use their skills that
Yeah,
day.
I get the yeah.
And
But-
there's always hugs.
Oh yeah.
And also, when we're outside, if you're not interested in buying any cookies, but you would love to donate any amount to us,
Mhm.
we are willing to take that.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
feel free to just drive by and give it to us,
Mhm.
because there will be people outside who will be collecting.
Oh yeah.
if
we have
you
it
don't
this
Well,
want
just
morning.
make sure it's Fairhope people collecting.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Well, and we are part of a great tradition, because there's a lot of events that day
Mhm.
Yeah.
in the
Yes.
downtown area. So you can really make a whole half a day or day of it. They have breakfast, and
Yeah.
different organizations are celebrating, getting ready for the
Other
holidays.
churches.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you can go just place to place and make us one of your stops, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
make us early though, because
Make
like you said,
Make us your first stop.
because you can run out of cookies. So
Yeah. Yeah, so if you go to a Christmas party and somebody's got really cool cookies, they've been to the cookie walk.
Yes.
Well, it's about time to wrap up the show. I'd like to give you some contact information for the cookie walk. Call us at 740-654-7077. We are on the internet at fairhopehospice.org, or follow us and like us on Facebook. I almost said Fairbook, that's not it. Like us on Facebook. So I would like to thank everybody for watching. We're going to take a short break, and remember, celebrate life.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Fairfield Medical goes the extra mile to give attention to their patients, to their guests, anybody that comes within those doors.
There's no question that the staff there are all personally invested in seeing that I got the best care possible.
The staff was so comforting. I felt like she was in the best hands.
They basically gave me a second chance at life, and I'm going to make the most of it.
Welcome to the Dream Machine. Like to be part of the Dream Machine, keep me busy, and it's also important that we do it together as a group, and we plow and plant, and we have lots of produce. We have tomatoes like one here, and gourds, cucumbers, squash, crawfish, beets, microgreens. We also have flower arrangement, and we also sell bags, those tote bags out of animal food bags, and we sell them out in the market, farmer's market.
It's a special place that keeps people healthy by eating a couple fruits and vegetables. I always show people, first time they pick raspberries and green beans, I show them how to do it like they do it wrong. Picking raspberries and green beans is simple, easy for me. We're entering some things in the fair like pumpkins, the gourds were growing, and everyone likes them. Tasty.
Hi, and welcome back. Rick Schneider, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, home of the Pickering House, and we're into part 2 of the show, and it's starting to get exciting, and I'm starting to get hungry. So we've been talking about our cookie walk, and Denise, it's been an interesting conversation as far as the cookie walk, and how does it work? There are all different kinds of cookie walks.
Right, there are, and I guess Twilight, our volunteers, do this really special where we actually let people fill up containers.
Mm-hmm.
And then they pay by the container. We don't weigh them. You know, so if you want, I think one year you crushed a lot of cookies.
What I did, I crumbled them all into crumbs, so I had like 5 pounds of crumbs. I figured I'd put them back together, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Make little cookie balls out of them,
yeah,
you know.
I love cookie balls.
Well, and I'll tell you, a lot of times people, they still don't know what a cookie walk is.
Right.
And they'll say to me, oh, do we go get money and we walk so far and we get a cookie?
And the
then
music stops. And you
yes, that too. So really what our cookie walk is, we set up rows of tables, and there we have trays on there with lots of different kinds of cookies, and you buy your container, you get gloves, and you walk up and down the rows and you fill up your container. Mm-hmm. So that's what our cookie walk is. There may be other cookie walks out there where they do other things, but that's how it goes. And then you go over to the craft table, and if you want to pick up some crafts, we have those. And this year we had some people interested in cookbooks at our fair. Mm-hmm. And we sold a lot of cookbooks.
And the cookbooks came from Fairhope employees. You know, our motto, sub-motto is to eat dessert first. Mm-hmm. So it just made sense for us to bring in a cookbook of desserts. And it is really interesting. A lot of grandma's recipes, and if it was my wife's recipe, it'd be, I don't know, you know, how'd you do that? Oh, I just put some of this, put of that, you stir it and mark it with beef, put it in the oven for same as me, and whatever she fixes is great. Yeah. But these are some very good recipes. Didn't your mom or mom put in one? Aunt. Okay.
Well, I actually submitted quite a few recipes, and but yeah, my mother, some of them were my mother, some of them were my aunts. So. Mm-hmm.
And after the fair, a volunteer brought me in some money that he said he sold a cookbook. And he said, let me tell you the story behind this cookbook. The lady came to the booth and she said, if there's a bread pudding recipe in there, I'm going to buy that cookbook. Mm-hmm. Well, being a man with the cookbook, he had no clue if there was a bread pudding recipe in there.
Didn't know what a cookbook was.
But she opened it up, and I'm almost positive it was like the first page of desserts.
Wow.
And she bought the cookbook because of the bread pudding. So I'm digging out, trying to find a cookbook to see who submitted that recipe. And I did, and I found out it was Denise. Oh. And she had submitted this recipe of your aunt's.
Yeah. So and it's really good. It has like a homemade vanilla sauce. It's a good recipe. It's worth buying the cookbook. Okay. That and another preview of coming attractions is my mother's fricadilly recipe.
Whoa.
You can Google it. It will not tell you what it is. I tried because I couldn't find the recipe one time. Mm-hmm. No, it's not in Google. Just so you know.
So it was her name. It was a name that she made up.
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, it's just been passed down.
It sounds like it's an old British thing. Fricadilly is
English
as they get.
And it's like a meatball.
Yeah.
It's really good. Mm-hmm.
So if you're interested in the cookbook, of course you can always stop by the Pickering House and pick up one. We've got them here. And if not, if you're at the Cookie Walk, it would make a great gift. I mean, just picture giving someone a plate of cookies with a cookbook.
Yeah.
There you
and
go.
I bet some of the recipes are actually in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There probably are.
I was going to say, Mrs. Claus, they could probably take the cookbook next year, come in with some frickadoodles or something.
Fricadillies.
Very good,
Yeah.
very good.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the one my wife makes is that, some kind of noodles, German something noodles, and it's chocolate. I mean, they're really good.
Wow.
A very simple recipe, 3 or 4 ingredients, but yeah, and like Denise said, you can really impress the neighbors. You know, and you got this plate of incredible cookies. Denise, how did you do this?
Well, I just tell them the elves help me.
Yep, I know a few people.
Yeah.
Well, I always say this, the ones that impress me because they're so simple were the Nutter Butter cookies where they put the white icing over it and the little black dots on there and you had a snowman. I've never thought
You've
of that.
always liked those.
Yeah, well, they're
I
peanut
remember
butter.
back in the early days, you
Yeah.
liked those.
Yeah, when we used to be at the different location and
Yes.
we had the deers go by, you know, and all that kind of thing. And love those little Nutter Butters. So,
Well, I'll tell you, our cookies that have the icing sell the quickest.
The quickest,
So
They do.
it's
they do.
if you don't know how to really make fancy cookies, just make
Mm-hmm.
a sugar cookie, throw some icing on there, and bring it to
Bingo.
us, and we'll sell it.
Yes.
oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's that easy.
Well, it's interesting, the first year we had it, actually they were remodeling downtown where they put in the brick sidewalks and all
Yes.
that big renovation they did.
Yeah.
And it was our first year, so we had some cookies left over, and Crystal and I went down, and used to be our volunteer director. And we went down Main Street and gave each one of the construction workers little bags of cookies, and it was the coolest thing.
Yes.
You know, they were thrilled to death to get them.
Yes.
Too bad we didn't have little cups of hot chocolate.
Yeah, I think we
Yes.
delivered them to the fire stations.
Fire stations we have delivered to also.
Almost.
They
Well, just
appreciate it.
imagine if
Shelter.
we would have had Mrs. Claus all dressed up
Oh.
delivering those.
Yeah.
They
they've
would
been-
have loved it.
They would have
Oh.
probably given us a good donation.
Yeah, throwing money and all that, yeah. Well, you know,
And
like-
I have received a large sum.
Yes,
bill
tell
before.
about that
It was
experience.
actually, I was outside with my basket with cookies and containers in my basket, and I was selling cookies off the street.
Mhm.
And this gentleman went over into Fairfield Federal's parking lot, and he got out of his truck, he came over, and he said he wanted to give me something. And I said, oh, you want to buy some cookies? And he goes, no, I want to give you something. And he gave me $100 bill.
Whoa.
And he did not want any cookies. I said, wouldn't you like the whole container? And he
The whole
goes,
basket.
No. He says that we had helped his family when they were in need, and
Oh.
he couldn't begin to say enough about hospice.
Mhm.
And he made me cry, and I gave him a hug, and he thanked me, and I turned around and was walking away. I turned back, and he was gone.
Wow.
So he was an angel from heaven.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
That's what he
Yes.
was.
that was a very good point. People don't understand what we do and they don't want to know what we do.
No.
Once they've been through it,
They
just-
understand
They
it.
can't control the
Yes.
gratitude, really.
Yes.
And that's why these fundraisers for us are very needed and very successful because people who have been there understand.
Understand it.
And
Yeah, and some of the best volunteers really, I mean, all of our volunteers are wonderful, but some of them that have actually been through this with their families they're really giving and they know how important it is to volunteer and to help us.
Absolutely.
So, I'd say that they do a lot with the patients and things like that. They help you a lot here in the Pickering House, and they just do a lot to help us.
well,
And it is because of their experiences.
Yes. Yes.
And some of them that may not have experienced hospice and became a volunteer are now experiencing it with maybe one of their loved ones or their spouse. And they always say, I knew we did a lot, but I had no idea we did this much.
Absolutely.
well, I experienced it with my sister-in-law. She was on service, and I'm watching our nursing staff, aides, social worker came in, chaplain. I've known them for years, but to see them in action, the compassion, the slow speed, if you will, there's no hurry whatsoever. If our family wanted to talk about anything, they would listen. Even though I knew they knew the whole, they hear this 50 times a day, they sat and listened. You know, it's the little things. And one of the nice things about this cookie walk is that it allows us to do the little things. You know, we will buy cookies if a patient wants them, or a milkshake. Something that simple
Absolutely.
is what they always remember.
Yes.
We brought in fried chicken, and our kitchen staff will fix anything they want, whenever they want. And if we don't have it, they'll go to Kroger's and buy it. You know, those little tiny things, and
It's important to them.
Absolutely.
Right.
They've been through all the high powered.
And many patients will come into the Pickering House and they don't have a caregiver, or they don't have a family member who is even in the area to come and visit. And that's sad to think that somebody is dying and they don't have somebody to actually be here to just sit with them, even if it means just holding their hand.
Yeah.
So this is a wonderful place for that type of individual, because they do get the care, they do get the love, and they do feel the love.
And they get that volunteer or
Yes.
staff member that can come in and sit at bedside
Correct.
when nobody else is there.
And the thing about our volunteers is they come in without an agenda. They're
Yes.
there to just do what the patient needs. The nurse is coming in to give medicine, assess the patient. And,
Yes.
everyone has a role, but that volunteer just comes with unconditional love and caring for these people, and and it shows. Great job.
I just left a room where a volunteer is in there with some family, and they had asked him to read the Bible. And when I walked in, he was getting done reading the Bible, and then they asked him to say prayer. And he was so open to it, and it meant so much to them that he would do that.
Oh, nice.
And the other thing that, we provide care in all the facilities and in the homes and things, but I just was thinking with the Pickering House too, with Veterans Day coming.
Yes.
That's another thing, that a lot of this donated money goes to help our veterans program, so that we can actually honor veterans at the end of their life and celebrate that. And so maybe we could talk a little bit about what your volunteers do to help with that, because they are very involved with that program.
Well, when our patient signs on and we find out they're a veteran, we ask them if they'd like a pinning, and if they said they do, a veteran pinning, then we call in the troops. We call in volunteers, we call in staff, and we present them with their military pins. Rick is very involved in this, and we read a certificate and we thank them. And our volunteers who are in the military, retired military, they will salute the patient. And then we all go around and thank the patient and their families. And it is just as meaningful for the family as it is for the veteran.
And one of the things that people don't have to worry about is that we do it where they live. We might have 1 or 2 people, we might have 30 or 40. They can be dressed up. We had one man in a sport coat, he had pressed slacks on and his military hat on. He was dressed to the nines. We have other people who are in a coma. It doesn't matter. We pin them, and it is such an important emotional event for the family. It's just a wonderful thing. I just love what we do here. And I would like to ask or remind everybody to go to the cookie walk. Would you want to, let's go through that one more time.
Okay.
When, where, who, how,
It's
long?
the Saturday, December 7th, so it's the first Saturday in December, and it's from 8 a.m. till 12 p.m. or till the cookies run out at St. John's here in Lancaster on Broad Street.
Right on Broad Street, just above Main Street.
We
And
hope
look
to
for
see you, Mrs. Claus and Mr. Claus.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's about, our time's about up. I would like to thank Twyla Summers for being on, Mrs. Claus and
Thank you.
Janet, if we can go that far in her civilian life, Denise Bauer, CEO, and I hope you enjoyed the show. I'd like to remind everybody to celebrate life.
Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frankie Smith Funeral Home.